Okay, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the State Gateway website, but if you're not, you're going to be because you'll be entering a lot of data in here, not only for Board of Accounts, but Department of Local Government Finance and other agencies have you enter data in here. This is the main Gateway public site. It's gateway www.gateway.in.gov. So this is where the public goes. They can look up a lot of information about your local governments, go into report search, and they can look up a lot of information. So if you're not familiar with this website, you may want to check it out. But when you're entering information, so this public website, they don't need a log in or anything to get to it. It's open to anybody. But in order to enter information, you have to have a login. And up here in the upper right corner, it says local officials login. And so that's where you're going to click to go to log in. If you don't have a username or password to log into the system, you can email our help desk to get set up and get an ID. And our help desk email address is gateway@sboa.in.gov. And so you would just let us know, who you are, what county you're with, and that you're a new official and need to be set up on Gateway. Your username is your email address when you're set up on Gateway, and then you'll get a password. If you forget your password, there's a forgot password link on here that you can click and they'll email you a new password. If you do it more than so many times incorrectly, I don't know if it's 3 or 4, then you'll get locked out and you won't be able to get in at all. So then you'll need to email our help desk again to be able to get back in. So if you've entered it a couple times wrong and you're having trouble, you probably just want to do the forgot password before you get locked out. Oh, see, there you go. That's what happens when you mistype it. Okay, it's not going to work for me. What have I got here? Since I can't see very well. There we go. So this is after you log in, there's a lot of applications on here that you can get access to. All of the ones on the left under the green are Department of Local Government Finance applications, the budgets and various things. I can't answer any questions about those. So the ones under the red or maroon over here are the Board of Accounts applications. That's the ones that if you have questions on those, you can email the gateway at sboa.in.gov help desk, and we'll help you with that. The first one, the one I'm going to talk about now before lunch, is probably one of the easier forms. It's the 100R, which is also known as employee compensation. It's where you have to report all the salaries of all your staff and county employees. And as you see over there to the right, it has the deadline or due dates January 31st. So we're going to go into the 100R. Whatever units you're assigned to, for example, your county will be listed here when you log in. I'm just going to use one of our test counties we have in here, and then all the years will be listed. And 2018 is already available, even though we have not sent out an email that it's available yet. We just made it live last week. So you can already go in there if you have an ID and get started, or look around, but it's we'll be sending out probably next week an email that it's actually available. And then when you first log in and you haven't entered anything for the year yet, you're going to get this unit question screen. On this unit question screen, you're going to enter how many employees you have. And the only thing that this is really used for is a check to make sure all of your employees have been entered. If you say at the beginning you have 100 employees, but at the end when you submit you've only entered 99, then you know you're missing one. But as far as using that number for anything else, we don't really use it for anything else. It's just as a double check to make sure you've got everybody entered. Then you have a few questions here to answer if you're going to manually enter your data or upload it. As county, since you have a lot of employees, hopefully you can upload your data. You should have all this data in a computer system and should be able to upload it. And the information on how to do that, how to set the file up, is on our website at www.in.gov/SBOA. And look under counties and you'll find the gateway section. It'll tell you how to set up your file, and it will also be under the in the user guide here at the top of the screen. Whenever you're in gateway, there's a link to the user guide. Anytime you have questions, you want to look at that. So you'll want to get with your software vendor to be able to set up your file to do an upload. Then you'll want to answer these questions here about if you provide health benefits, pension benefits, or other benefits to your staff. And then we have these questions about nepotism and contracting policies. If your unit already has a policy on file, like in this example, it says yes, there's already a policy on file. That rolls over from year to year, so you don't have to upload that every year. If for some reason you don't have a policy on file, then you'll need to upload that. Or if your policy has changed from last year, even though you have one on file, if you've had some type of resolution, changed your policies, you'll need to upload a new one. So then if you said you have an upload, then that goes right to that screen to do an upload. Basically, you're just going to click the browse and go out to your computer and find the file that you have your data in, and then click upload, and then it will go through the process of uploading your data. It'll tell you if you have any errors, and if you have errors, you have to correct those. And then it'll finally say it's uploaded. But once it's uploaded, you're not done. Some people think they're uploaded, and that means it's submitted and it's done. But once it's uploaded, you still need to actually submit it using the submit button at the bottom. So once you've uploaded your data, and then you make sure you've got your nepotism and contracting policies uploaded. So again, this unit has a prior policy uploaded, and it says the most recent year and when you've had one that was uploaded. If your policy has not changed, you don't have to upload another one. It's rolled over from the prior year, so you don't have to do anything with that. If you want to view what the policy is we have on file, you can click and look at that. And then again, if for some reason you don't have one uploaded or you changed and you need to upload a new one, you can click browse and find that document on your computer and upload the new one. The output reports, 100-hour report outputs, is just where you can go and get a listing of what you've uploaded, which cannot be downloaded to a PDF or an Excel. So you can choose either format. So you can download any of this data you've uploaded or entered and get a report of it and see what it looks like. And so once you've uploaded all of your data and you're satisfied that it's correct and ready to submit, you're going to click the submit button. It's going to give you a little summary here This is just some test data that I previously entered in here, but it's going to give you a summary of how many staff you said you had, a count of employees at the beginning, how many was entered, and a summary of the maximum, minimum salaries and a total. And again, this is just for your benefit as you're reviewing this. You know, if you had a maximum salary of $1 million, you may think, oh, if somebody's got an extra zero in there or something. Unless you make a lot at your county, I don't know. So it's just a little double check before you submit to make sure everything looks correct. And then if you do have any errors, it will show on here any errors, and you won't be able to submit to correct those. And then if you're ready to submit, you do the proceed to submit. It'll go through the process, and after you follow the screen prompts to submit, it'll tell you at the top that it's been submitted, and then you're done. You'll also get an email back in your email saying it's been submitted. And then I get a lot of emails sometimes from people saying, well, I sent you my form, did you get it? Well, the only way I get it is if you've submitted it. So it'll tell you right here on the screen, this one's not been submitted. So if you go through the submit process, it's going to have a date and time it was submitted here, and also your username here of who submitted it. So if you see that, that means it's been submitted and that you're all done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can either one. There's an option here to do PDF or Excel. So it's going to do whichever one you choose here. Is a what? Oh, that's your county's email. Mm-hmm. Well, whoever logs in, like if that's your email you're using to log in with, that's the user that's going to be submitting it. And that's another thing that on Gateway you can have another user that has edit access. If you have a deputy or a clerk or someone you want to actually do this process, you can request through our help desk that they get an ID and they can have edit rights, and they can do the upload part or enter the information. But the county auditor is the official that has to actually submit the report and review it, make sure it's correct, and actually do the submission. So yeah, so you need to make sure you have an ID with submission rights. Again, one thing I didn't go over too much, because counties do have so many employees, I don't think this will be applicable to you, but there is an employee data entry screen here. So if you couldn't upload the data for some reason, you can manually enter it on this screen. Shows what all you have to enter: their last name, first name, their business address. Again, this is the business address, not their home address. Their job title, and their compensation. So that's the data you're going to be uploading or manually entering on this screen. If you have over a certain number of employees, if you do an upload, and I think it's like 250, if you have more than 250 employees, that's more than this screen will handle, so it won't let you come into this screen if you've uploaded more than that many employees. If it's less than that, after you do the upload, you can come in here and see what it looks like, or you could even make corrections directly in here if you needed to, or if you forgot an employee in your upload, you could go to add row and manually add them here if you needed to. But that's if you have less than like 250 employees. If you have more than that, you'll need to correct your upload file and upload it again. So so that's the 100R. Did you have any questions on that? I guess my main, we'll talk more about Gateway after lunch, but I guess my main thing I'd want to emphasize on any of this stuff regarding Gateway is, again, always go and look at the user guides. There's a lot of information in there. We have some frequently asked questions at the bottom of the user guide, because if you have a question, probably someone else has asked that question before, so you may want to review those. And then the fastest way to get help is, instead of calling me directly or emailing me, is if you email the help desk at gateway@sboa.in.gov, because we have people that monitor that email address. Like when I'm not there, out sick, or on my day off, then you'll get a faster answer if you email that help desk. So if there's no questions, I guess that's it. Yes, I am Linda Baker. I talked to you earlier before lunch about the 100R. And now we're going to talk about the annual report. If I can see where my cursor is. There it is. So the annual financial report is a big report. It has a lot of information, all of your financial data in there. Over to the right-hand side under deadline, it tells you when it's due, March 1st. So in case you forget when the due date is, you can check that. When you log in, you'll see your county listed on here, but I'm going to use one of the test counties we have set up. And then it has all the years listed here. 2018 is now available, but we haven't sent out the email that it's available yet, the announcement email, so I'm hoping that goes out next week. But it is already available if you want to go in and check it out. When you first log in, you get a whole series of questions. And all the answers to these questions help to set up your report. So for example, the first one asks if you have any received or dispersed any money from federal grants. So if you have any federal grants, you're going to say yes on that. If you're not sure, there's additional information here you can click that describes that in more detail. So you may want to read that if you're not sure if some of your money's federal money. That may help you to read that additional information. So you're going to say yes or no to that, whether you have federal grants, and then they ask if you have debt, leases, a lot of different questions, if you maintain capital asset records. And then if you have your data in an accounting system, such as LAO or one of the accounting softwares, you can say yes, you want to upload your data. If you've worked with your accounting or your software vendor, you can upload all of your data so you don't have to manually enter it. Since accounting's rather large, you probably want to try to do that. The smaller units, I don't always suggest doing that, but a large county, if you haven't already got that process set up, you'll want to get with your software vendor and look on our website at www.in.gov/SBOA, and it's got a detailed information there on how to set up the upload files. So if you're going to upload, you'll click yes for that, or if you're going to manually enter it. Then a new question that we have on here this year is this last one about, do you anticipate that you will produce gap statements for your unit as a whole and require an audit of these statements? So if you're going to have gap statements, you want to say yes on that. If you don't, you'll say no. And if you do say no, it asks if you have a utility that may produce gap statements. So that's a new question, new to this year, that we're asking you to complete. Mm-hmm.
Is that question for the 2018 financial report for 2019 filing, or for future years?
That's for this 2018 data.
And what is the gap?
Generally accepted accounting principles.
If your county has more than 100,000 in population and you're planning to issue debt, you have to be
So after you answer all of those questions, we're going to hit proceed. And then we go to the main menu, and there's the various sections that we can complete. The first one's the schedule of officials. And so you'll fill this out. There's certain fields that are, say, required, which are already completed on here, like your office address, etc. So anything that says required, you'll need to complete that and fill it out. Any of these that have spaces that don't say required, you can leave those blank if you don't have any information to fill in on those. But if you do have a treasurer's name and term to fill in, you'll fill that in. The clerk, recorder, sheriff, and then there's a place to put other. So there's a lot of different offices in here to fill out. And see, there's a lot of places for superintendents of utilities, which you wouldn't have that. Then at the very bottom, you want to make sure to, when you're done with this form, to check mark complete so the system knows you're done with this form. If you don't check the mark complete, and also you'll do the save all work, but if you don't check that it's completed, then it won't say complete as the status over here. So I've had some people ask me that. I've filled that form out, but it doesn't say it's complete. Well, you have to mark that box at the bottom to tell it that you've completed that form. Then the next major section is this financial data by fund. Again, if you upload your data, this section's going to be filled out for you. It's going to upload, if you do an upload, you're going to upload all your fund beginning balances and all your receipts and all your disbursements. So you won't have to manually enter all of this in. If you have money in outside offices, then you'll be giving them what's called a supplemental annual report form to complete. That's money that's not in your books or records, but that you need to include in here. And you'll have to manually enter that information in for those funds. Like, what's a fund they would do that for, Lori? Sheriff, commissary. So if you have other of those funds, we have a form. Again, if you want to check our website or in the user guide, and the user guide's linked at the top of all the gateway screens. So if you have any questions, I always recommend looking at the user guide. And in the user guide, it'll talk about a supplemental annual report, and it's just a one-page form, and you'll give that form to these outside offices that have money that you need to include, and then they'll return it to you. And when you receive that, you're going to click add a fund to this grid and go through the adding a fund process and enter that data manually on the financial data by fund. So let's say we want to add a fund. You're going to put in the local name. Mm-hmm.
I guess I'd just like to add to that. Sheriff's commissary is one, treasurer's is another. Sheriff commissary, sheriff inmate, treasurer's after
I
settlement
think I
collection.
misspelled that, but I guess we're going to go with it.
Yeah, just so you know, those are some individuals you might be talking to for that.
Yeah, and so you want to make sure you give them that supplemental form early enough that they can get that completed and back to you before you have to submit your annual report. Mm-hmm.
Is there a list of all the funds, possible funds that can be used?
As far as that supplemental thing we're talking about?
Well, you would have, a list of, not the ones that a county would necessarily use, but maybe possible ones that you would recognize if somebody did.
You're not talking about all your funds, but you're talking about the ones that you need to get this outside money from? Is that what you're asking? On our website, there's a whole chart of accounts under counties. Yeah, so if that's what you're referring to, under our website, there's a whole section on chart of accounts, and yeah, Lori will go over that. And then when you do add a new fund here, see it says show all funds, and it'll show a list of the funds here that you can use to choose from. So when you're adding a new fund, if the fund is what's called a standard fund, that's in the fund table that's on our website, it's a fund that's by law established, usually is what a standard fund is. It'll be listed here. But if we're adding a fund that's not in the standard fund list, we're going to do what's called build a custom fund. And then it asks us a couple questions if this is associated with a grant, if it's part of a utility. And we're going to say no, it's not associated with a utility. And then again, similar to utilities, it used to account for operations like a private business, which is an enterprise type fund like a utility. And we're going to say no, it's not. Add this fund, and then it's going to add that fund that we entered onto our financial data by fund screen. So that's how you would go through the process of adding a new fund. And again, it talks about that step by step in the user guide. So if you have, it'll be the fund numbers you're using in your accounting system. Yeah, if you have them not in your accounting system and you're adding them manually from these forms, then yeah, you can just make one up, whatever, maybe sequentially number them or whatever would be convenient for you to recognize that goes with that. So anyway, once you add the fund, then we have a place here to enter the receipts and the disbursements. So you can't change and put in the totals directly on this screen. You click the add edit button under that total, and you get a list of all the receipts, and you're going to just put the number in whatever type of receipt it is. And the main thing to know on this screen, and almost all the screens in the system really, is when you put a number in, if you just click save now, it's not going to save it unless you press the enter key. See how when I pressed the enter key, it updated the total here? If I just type in a number and then click save now, see the total's not updated, and it's not going to save that new number I put it on the second cell unless I press enter, and now it's updated the total, and then you know that it saved it, and you can also press save all work now. So that's my helpful hint for entering any numbers in these cells is when people call and tell me, oh, I've entered it, my numbers aren't saving, make sure you're pressing the enter key after you type the number in. So that's the receipts, and the disbursements are have a similar type screen. So again, if you're uploading, you're going to upload all this information except for any of that outside offices money you have to enter, or if you have an error in your upload or need to adjust or change a number, you can go directly into that financial data by fund screen and change it there. The other thing, forms here are the ones that you said yes, you have those on the unit question screen that we talked about. So the capital assets, you should all have capital asset records that you're keeping, and so you're going to go in and fill these numbers out. You need to enter something in every cell for your land, building, construction in progress, etc. So you're going to complete that. If you have questions on what some of those things are, down at the bottom of the screen, it gives you some descriptions. And then the federal grant section is very important. You want to make sure you fill this out completely and accurately. Make sure you include all your federal grants that you have. And again, any of these that it's kind of light, I don't know if you can see it there, but it says required in some of these fields in gray. So the ones that say required, you have to fill something out on those boxes or it won't save that line. You'll get an error. So you want to scroll all the way over to the right too and make sure you see everything and see all the boxes. Because as you can see, there's a lot more required fields over here. So you want to complete all these fields. And again, the CFDA number is on here. That's important. But if you note, it's not required because sometimes I don't think, sometimes I've heard you don't always have the CFDA number or they don't provide that to you. So we didn't make it required so that you could still complete the form. But that is an important field. So if you have the CFDA number, you want to make sure you enter that. And then again, down below, if you're not sure what some of those fields mean, we have descriptions on the screen, right here on the screen, of what all of these different things are. Okay, similarly, we've got accounts payable, accounts receivable. And everybody has to complete this. And again, if you don't know what accounts receivable and accounts payable are, we have the definition right on the screen there. So even if you don't have any, you're going to enter 0 and save that. So everybody needs to complete this form. And then if you said yes that you had debt or leases at the beginning, then you're going to get those screens to fill out. If you don't see a screen that you think you need to complete, like you don't see the debt screen on here and you know you have debt to enter, that means you didn't answer the question correctly at the beginning. So you need to go back to the unit questions and change your answer to yes that you have debt. So this screen will show up so you can enter your debt. So you're going to, again, all these fields are required, so you're going to enter those in here. We've got a drop-down box to select whether you have general obligation bonds or what type of debt you have. And then you're going to put in the description of your description of it, and then the amount of the principal as of December 31st, and then the principal and interest due in 2019. And then the leases are on a separate screen, but similar. And you enter the leaseor, the description or purpose of the lease amount, and then the dates of the lease. All of these things will pretty much, if you had debt the prior year, that it will carry over except for the amounts, I believe. They like blank those out to force you to enter new amounts in and not just, because if we left the same amounts in there, you may just submit it with the same amounts without reviewing it as closely. But it will show the debt listed here that you had last year. So if you no longer had that debt, then you could delete it. And then you just want to make sure you update the amounts to the correct amounts for this year. And that's true of your grants screens and most all the screens in here. If you had several grants that you entered last year, if you go in here, they will all be listed here, but the amounts and these required fields to the right will still need to be filled in for the new year. And then, of course, if you had any new grants, you'll need to add those. The other section here is the pension section. you're going to check whether you have any of these pensions at the top, the Public Employees Retirement Fund, the PERF, or any of these other pensions. And if that's all the pensions you have is one of these, then you don't have to complete any other information and you're going to be done. So that's what it asks you after you check what pensions you have. Does your unit have any other pension plans? And if the answer is no, you could save this form and be done. But I think almost all the counties have a police sheriff pension that you'll need to enter. So you're going to have to say yes, you have other pension plans, and then add a plan, and then you're going to have to enter information about the plan, the name of the plan, the class of employees, the plan administrator information, and the number of employees, active employees. I already have one filled out here. So you'll enter all that information, and then there's going to be a page 2 of information that's going to come from your actuary that you'll need to complete. It asks you if you had an actuarial valuation done for this plan, yes or no. If you say no, then you won't have any of the information to fill out on this screen, so it'll bypass the screen. But you should have information from your actuary on your pension, so you're going to say yes, and then choose what type of pension. In this case, county police retirement plan, and then fill out all this actuarial information. And again, this should all be coming from your actuary. They should tell you all this information. So if you have any questions on this part, or you're not getting all the information that you need to complete this, you might want to contact your actuary and ask them for that information. Then we have a screen here where you have to upload your official bonds. For a county, you have to upload bonds for all of these offices that are on the right here in this little box where it says required positions. Excuse me. So let's say, if I can delete that one. So see now how I have a red X next to the clerk, and it tells me that, in order to submit, I can't have any red X's here. So you have to have all green check marks here showing that you've uploaded something for all of these, or stated whether you have a bond for all of these or not. If you have a red X on one of these, that's an indication you still have something else to upload or do for this bond section, or you're not going to be able to submit your report. So since we have a red X on the clerk, then we're going to come down and select clerk, and then it's asking us to check if this position is bonded or not. So if we check that, then we have to fill out the information on that. So I said check if this position is not bonded, so it has the IC code. So if I check that, let's say I didn't have a bond for that person, then I would just save that, and it would just say we didn't have a bond for that person. But if you do have a bond for them, then you'll leave that unchecked, and you'll fill out and complete this bond section. And then you're going to go out and choose the file on your computer of the copy of the bond, and click upload and upload that, and then it will show down here on the bottom. So all the ones that you've uploaded or answered the questions for, you should see them at the bottom. And then when you're all done, you'll have green check marks next to all these. So if you're doing the file upload, this is where you'll do that at, the upload file section here. So it asks if you have any departments to upload, so you'll click yes or no if you have that. And then under the drop down box, these are the files that you'll be uploading. The contact information file has information such as your name, your vendor's name, address, how we identify this unit. The beginning balance file is going to have all your funds and their beginning balances. The receipts file is going to have all the receipts for all of your funds that you're uploading by the fund and the receipt type. And the disbursements are going to be all the disbursements by the fund and the disbursement type. And then if you have any departments to upload. So you're going to select whichever file you're wanting to upload, click the browse, go out and find it on your computer, which I found with a lot of people, that's like 90% of the work is knowing where your file is. Because sometimes they call and ask me that, and I'm like, I don't know where your file is. But if you just browse, find the file on your computer, and click upload, then it's going to show when they're all uploaded, and you'll click next and follow the screen prompts. If one of the files has an error, it's going to come back and tell you that and give you an error file that you'll need to review and see where the errors are and correct those. All your files have to be correct before they'll all upload. So once you get them all uploaded and correct, it'll tell you everything's been uploaded, and then you'll be able to go in, as we looked earlier, into your financial data by fund, and you'll see all your funds listed in here with all the figures entered in there. If you make changes, such as adding, making corrections after you upload, or adding those outside departments that we talked about a while ago, and do any changes like that on your financial data by fund screen, and then you decide to go and do your upload again, you're going to wipe out any changes that you've made. So if you've entered that stuff and then decided your upload was wrong and you had to redo it for some reason, you'll have to enter any of those outside departments again, because it's going to wipe all that out and start over. So you want to make sure your upload is correct before you start entering a lot of other information. The other thing is, after you enter your information, you can go to the annual report outputs, and we have a lot of output reports in here of all the different information that you've entered. And you can download those in a PDF file, or you can select Excel and download them to Excel. So if you want to download them to Excel to share them with someone else, or to be able to review it, you can do that. We have the cash fund statement, the cash and investments combined. Well, I clicked Excel. Maybe Excel's not on this computer, so let's try PDF. So there's a PDF file of the information. So you can look at this online or print it out and review it. Or if you needed to send a PDF file copy of this to someone else, then you could download that and email it to them. And so we have a report in here for, again, each section, your grant schedule, the debts and disbursements and receipts, leases, schedule of officials. So all of your different sections are in here. There's at the bottom here, there's a thing called the full report, and when you click that, that puts all those different sections into one PDF file. So that's handy to have that available. And then this bottom one is the advertising. So if you have to do the advertising for your and publish it in the paper for your annual report, you've got the report that you have to advertise is listed here, and you can download that to the PDF file or Excel or whatever your newspaper requires, and then you can just send them that. So when you're as you've entered your information and you want to see if you have any errors, you can do this review submission, and it's going to tell you all your errors you have. Usually it's that you haven't completed a section. Like I've got a couple sections here that tells me that I haven't completed because I deleted that clerk information out on that bond, so I didn't upload it again. So it's telling me that's not completed. So you need to correct any errors before you can get the submit button. You can't submit until you fix all the errors. If you have warnings, though, if you don't have any errors and you just have warnings at the bottom, as it says on the screen, you can still submit if you have warnings. These are just information for you to review and check that may be a problem or it may not. So it's something for you to check. Like, for example, this says I have a negative cash balance on a fund. Well, generally you shouldn't have a negative cash balance on your fund, so you may want to look at that and see, oh, which fund has a negative cash balance? Is that an error? Have I forgotten to enter something? And so that'll be something that you'll need to review. But if your fund is in a negative cash balance state for some reason, and that's correct, then you can still go ahead and submit. So one of the other new things that's on here is where you can run this financial statements in CFA, which the CFA is the list of all of your grant information, federal assistance. So in the past, our field staff, when they have come in to do the audit, they've ran that it's a macro that downloads all the information, and it's a macro that runs in Excel and creates all your financial statements and your CFA from the data that you've entered in your annual report. So in the past, the field staff has ran that when they come to do the audit or maybe before they get there. But we've had a request to add this to the annual report so that you can run it yourself before they get there and review it and make sure your financial statements, and in particular the CFA, look correct, and you can correct any errors before they come. So that will help to make the audit go quicker if you've already got all of your information corrected before they come. In particular, the CFA is using the grant information that you've entered on the grant screen, but they don't look exactly the same. When it creates the CFA, it takes that grant information and does some calculations and groups things together, so the CFA will look different than the grant schedule that you would print out from the output reports in your annual report. And sometimes when people see it printed out in the final format, then they realize they've left something off or something's not right. So we recommend you try to run this download and create this CIFA, this final end product that's created, so that you can review that before the audit. And again, make sure you've got any errors corrected. There's, again, step-by-step instructions and screenshots in the user guide. Which is right here. And so all the different sections of this annual report are listed here in the user guide. And this financial statement CIFA that's in here, and it goes through and tells you specific information on how to run it. You'll have to have Excel in order to run it, because it puts everything in Excel. It also tells you that it doesn't work for some reason with Firefox. You have to use Chrome or Internet Explorer if you're running the CIFA part, because it doesn't work with Firefox. So anyway, again, it just has all the step-by-step screenshots of what you have to do to run this. So I recommend you review that and try to run that before they come to do the audit, and that will get you ahead of the game there. And if for some reason, you try to run it and you're having trouble, you can email again our help desk, or the FE will still go ahead and run it when they come in to do the audit. Again, it's going to try to run some macros, and maybe if they've got your system protected where they don't want you running macros on your computer at your county and different things, there could be some security reasons why you might have trouble running it. So if you do run into something like that, then we'll still run it when we come to do the audit, but it's helpful if you can review that ahead of time. Let's see, I did have a couple of other new items that were new for this year. Mostly there's some new funds. You were talking earlier about the funds, and I'm sure you're going to get all the lowdown from Lori on all the funds. But also on our Board of Accounts website, if you go under political subdivisions and under counties, all the way down here, there's a gateway section and an annual report section. And again, this is going to have all the code tables. And see, here's a fund list here. And so this is the funds that you would use if you're doing an upload. It tells you the codes to use. The supplemental annual report that you would give out to those outside offices is here, and the instructions. And then the upload information on the specifications and what format you need to have your data in to do your upload. And so if you haven't gotten that set up previously with your software vendor, you'll want to direct your software vendor to this section of our website and discuss that with them so they can set up your upload for you. And so we do have some new funds listed here. If you go to the funds, it's in Excel. And the very first tab tells the new funds for this year. And then also there's a new fund, I don't think it's a new fund, but there's a new fund that you can add departments to. We talked a little bit earlier about departments. And we didn't go into that. So your general fund, for example, will have departments. When you go into the disbursements, you have all these departments listed. So the other funds that don't have departments, they go directly to the disbursement screen, and you enter the disbursements for that fund. On the general fund and a few of your other funds, you'll have departments listed, and then you'll go into the department for that fund and then enter your disbursements. Or again, if you're uploading it, it'll be uploaded by department for those certain funds. Well, we have a new fund that's a lit special purpose fund that in the past you couldn't enter departments for that fund. But that's another change that we made this year, that you can now have funds for that department. So again, if you'll look on our website at all the different information on the funds, it'll talk to you about that. So then when you get all done and you're going to, like the 100R we talked about earlier, you're going to do the submit. When you have all your errors corrected, there'll be a submit button at the bottom that you can click that, and it'll go through this submit process and follow the screen prompts. And when you're all done, it'll tell you that it's submitted. You'll get an email back telling you that it's submitted. And then down at the bottom right corner where it says not submitted, now it'll have a date and time that it's submitted and then email address of the person that submitted it. So that's how you can easily tell whether it did take or get submitted. So is there any questions on this annual report? You just all can't wait to get back to your office and start right away, right? Working on it. Yeah. You may want to, wait till after you've had some Christmas cheer after the Christmas holidays and things like that before you start tackling this, I guess. Then the other, if there's no questions on that, the other thing that I'm going to talk about that's going to be new for counties this year, you just love new requirements and stuff to do, right? Right. We, the other new thing that you may have heard about, and you should have gotten the counties all got a letter about this recently, is this monthly and annual engagement uploads. Starting this past summer in June, the other unit types, the townships, cities, towns, they all started uploading every month their information into the system. And after January, we're going to have the counties start uploading their information. And again, under the details, it tells you when the files are due. So your January monthly files are due March 15th. So you have like a month and a half to be able to upload your files. So we're going to go in here and look at this. Again, I'm going to look at a test unit here. And we're still testing and getting the county section ready because, like I said, counties, this is new to you. You haven't had to do this before, so we're still working on it. So it's not ready to show for the counties yet. So I'm just going to use a library as a unit to demo this today. But it'll work the same and be the same process. You'll just have different documents you have to upload. So there's instructions all at the top of how to do this upload, but basically what you're going to do is in January, you're going to select the month, so it has all the months listed here. So in January, you're going to select the month, and then you're going to select the document that you need to upload, and they'll have all the documents that you have to upload listed here. And it's also going to be by department. So the county auditor is going to have some documents to upload. The county treasurer is going to have some documents to upload. The recorder, the sheriff, and the clerk. Because, we want everybody to enjoy and have fun, Spread the fun around. So for example, the county auditor, similar to the libraries, you're going to upload approved board minutes, a funds ledger, and that's all that you're going to have to upload, the county auditors. So there's a bank reconcilement on here, but you won't have to do that. So you'll have all the documents that you have to upload monthly listed here, and it's going to be board minutes and the funds ledger. So let's say we're going to select the funds ledger. Again, you're going to choose your file, go out and find it on your computer, click submit the upload, and then it's going to show on here where you've uploaded it, who uploaded it, the date and the time, and the name of the document that you uploaded. So it's going to upload under each document for each month that you've uploaded something here. As you can see, when you upload a document, it's got a red X over here if you've uploaded the wrong thing, picture of your cat, whatever, by mistake, because Billy doesn't want to see that. Then you're going to hit the red X, and then you can upload the document again. If you want to see what the document looks like that you uploaded, if you're not sure if you uploaded the right thing, then that's what this download arrow is, and that will be a way you can view what you've uploaded. So that way you can look at it and make sure it is the right document. And so you're going to do that every month. So in January, by March 15th, you're going to upload your January files, February, March, the whole year. And then at the end of the year, they have, have what's called annual files that you'll upload. And they'll be listed here under the annual files. So for a county auditor, for example, your annual files you're going to upload are your receipt activity, detail of your disbursement activity, a vendor history report, and your current year salary ordinance. So that's what's going to be the documents listed here that you have to upload. So let's say detail of receipt activity. If you have hand-posted records, you don't have to upload that, but I don't think there's any counties that would have hand-posted records. I hope not, but some of the small units, like small libraries and townships, do have hand-posted records, so they don't have to upload those documents. So you're going to choose, again, go out and choose the file, submit upload, and then all of your annual uploads that you've done are going to be listed down here at the bottom after each month. So was there a question on what the detail is? Yeah. Yes, uh-huh. Yes, but, yeah, I didn't see that. But yeah, the approved board minutes, let's look at that. So under the approved board minutes, again, that's going to be one of your monthly uploads. So say in January, you select approved board minutes. Then if you have a file of that, a PDF file or whatever it is, you can upload that. But a lot of the bigger units like counties do post them on their website. So if you do have it, you can just click that web link, type in the link, or copy and paste it in and submit that, and then you can do it that way. For the minutes, do you know? Yes.
The most important to me would be commissioners, council, possibly redevelopment commission if they have minutes on there. If you post them, if you have a link and we can get all of them
Yeah.
on there, that's fine.
Yeah, like if they're all on your website. And so yeah, I guess if you have questions on that and aren't sure, you can email our help desk as well, and we'll try to get you an answer on that. The help desk, again, if you haven't committed it to memory, you should write it on your hand. gateway@sboa.in.gov. That's where you get all your questions answered. Everything you ever wanted to know and more. So anyway, and then the only other thing about this upload is, besides the things we're asking for each month and then the annual uploads, they have something called a direct request. I haven't introduced him yet, but this handsome gentleman sitting over here is Billy, and he's in our engagement strategies section. He's the one that's going to review all your documents and everything and commit them to memory, I'm sure. But anyway, and if he reviews your documents and has a problem with them, I'm sure he'll contact you and let you know he needs something else. But one thing they do is, besides the things you're required to do monthly and annually, is he can say, do what's called a direct request. Oh, instead of just these documents that we've already said we want you to do every month. I also need to see your XYZ, whatever he might need. I don't know what it is at the time, but they may need extra information for the audit or for what, for some purpose, or in this case even, it could be, so this is 2018, but we're going to have, like I said, we're going to be rolling this out and rolling it over by the new year for 2019. So you're really going to be starting in 2019 and uploading 2019 data. Maybe Billy will decide, oh, I need your 2018 something form or some type of receipts or something for 2018. Then he might direct request you to upload that as well. So any information that he needs in addition to what you've already uploaded, he's going to do what's called a direct request, and you'll get an email, and it'll be pretty clear. It'll say it's a direct request for Board of Accounts for a document and what document he wants you to upload. And then when you come in and log in, at the very bottom, it'll say direct request, and maybe he's asked for a copy of a contract or whatever it might be. It'll be listed down here the same as what it is in your email that you'll receive, and then you'll upload those documents down here at the bottom. And again, we have a user guide under the help that if you have any questions, you may check that and see if that answers your questions. 9 times out of 10 when people ask me a question, I go to the user guide and I copy and paste the answer out of there and email it to them. So most of the time the answers are in the user guide, so you may want to check that first when you have a question. So yeah, again, this section for the counties is new. It's going to hopefully be, we're testing it now, the changes that the programmers have made on this. We're testing it now, and it's not been released yet, but I'm hoping by the end of the year it'll be released, and then you can start using it after January. The county auditors that already have an ID on Gateway to do their annual report, if you already have a Gateway ID, we're going to take those people and automatically give them access to the system. So if you already have a Gateway account and are already set up in the system to do the annual report before this is released, we'll give you access to this automatically. If for the new people and the newly elected officials, I think we're going to try to get that information so that we can load them in. But if for some reason you don't get a ID or can't get logged into this, then you'll have to email our help desk and we'll have to get you set up. But I'm hoping by the time it does roll out, we'll have everybody that needs access in the system logged in and ready to go. If they have access to the annual report and you have given them, filled out the form to give them edit access to the annual report, is that what you mean?
Well, I don't know if they've already been given access, because I'm coming in new.
Oh, okay, so yeah, if you, yeah, so if they've in the past, if they already have a Gateway ID and can log in, more than likely they have edit access to the annual report, but you can see what access they have when they log in. If you have people that are no longer there and you want to remove their access, there's a form on our website that, let's see, did I already close that? Anyway, there's a form on our website that you can, oh, here we go. Right here under our website, where we at a while ago, if you would like to request access for someone else, we have a delegation form where you can request access for some of your staff to be able to enter information in the 100R, the annual report, or this upload application. And then also if they leave, you need to fill out that form and check that to remove their access, so that's important. But again, if they already have an ID on Gateway and they already have edit access to the annual report, I think we're going to roll them over to this engagement uploads and automatically give them the access. Definitely the submitters we are. Probably the people that have edit access, we'll go ahead and give them the access as well. Then if for some reason you don't want them to have access, again, you can fill out the form and let us know. But we're going to try to set it up with the people that are already in the system as much as possible, so that it'll be ready for you to go when January comes and you've had your eggnog and everything's Christmas is over. You got your everything you Santa brought you, you wanted, you got it. You're ready to start the new year. Hopefully he brought you something to help you fill all this out too, right? But anyway, so anyway, I still have a little more time. If you have questions, your head's probably swimming or about to explode. Like, yeah, too much information. But I guess the main thing that I would leave you with is, again, the help desk email address, gateway@sboa.in.gov. If you have any questions, that's the best way to get a hold of us. So you want to email there. And then again, also look on our website where we've already looked under the Gateway section. That has a lot of information right here. And then also the user guide. All the user guides are linked at the top of all the Gateway screens, and there's a lot of information there. The annual report really has a lot of information on all the screens. And then at the very bottom, there's some frequently asked questions. So usually it can help you and answer a lot of your questions. If you're on this user guide, you click the Control F key, then you get a little search box and you can type in a word like receipts, and it will find that word in the document, and then you can see everything that it says about that subject. So that's another good way to find something in the user guide if you're having trouble searching it, is do the Control F and you can type in a word and search to help you find a topic that you're looking for.